would normally do, locked in a higher price than that. Now, I think that should be, I mean, I think you're right, it should have been possible to identify that, I think. I mean, it's a bit harder to quantify, but it was in there somewhere in the mix, whereas the weather events weren't.
And we'll be coming back to food later on in the session, but if I can turn to Hugh and ask the same question, do the responsibilities for the forecasting models fall within your area, Hugh?
Most of them do, yes.
So what's gone wrong with them?
Well, I would echo a lot of the things that have already been said. It is very difficult to forecast at very high frequencies some of the developments that we've seen, given the magnitude of the shocks and their pass through.
So take an example in the Governor's letter to us, which we're...
Well, if you want to continue watching those questions to the Bank of England executives, you can click on the QR code on your screen, which will take you now to our live feed from the Treasury Committee. In the meantime, we've got a bit of breaking news for you. The pandemic, the war in Ukraine and climate change. No, we're not coming to that first. We're going to talk about the Shell AGM, which is taking place right now. There has been some disruption at the Shell AGM. Some climate change activists have got into the meeting. I think we can show you a quick clip of Sir Andrew Mackenzie, the Shell chairman, dealing with some of these people. Let's just see if we can get that to you.
Don't you come back no more. Don't you come back no more.
That's Sir Andrew Mackenzie there, the Shell chairman there. Disruption was protested. It's worth actually pointing out most shareholders in Shell are a bit peeved at just how much the company is spending on the transition compared with some of its American rivals such as Exxon and Chevron. But we will have more on that throughout the morning, no doubt, here on Sky News. Now, the pandemic, the war in Ukraine and climate change have all highlighted vulnerabilities in the food supply chain around the world, creating shortages and pushing up prices. But the global food system is also going to be subject to other enormous changes in coming years, including changing preferences, chiefly for a more Western diet, as well as technological innovations such as crop science and lab-grown meat. So how should investors navigate these changes? Well, joining me is someone who's just written a paper on it, Tamer Hayat. He's Chief Operating Officer at PGIM, the $1.2 trillion global asset management company. Tamer, good to see you this morning. I couldn't work out from reading your paper whether you're actually optimistic or pessimistic about the outlook for global food.
I am convinced that it's at a cusp, at a point of transformation where clearly the food system as we have it now, Ian, is not fit for purpose. The system's broken. You've got 25% of people in the G8 obese and overweight, and you've got 800 million malnourished people at the same time. The Ukraine war has just shown what geopolitical tensions and energy price increases can do to food inflation and food prices. And you've got this three-tier technology in food where you've got like precision agriculture in the US and Europe, you've got large-scale mechanized farms in Argentina and Brazil, and then you've got bullocks and farms less than 10 acres in India. So it's ripe for change, and there's lots of opportunities for investors behind that change. But we feel that change is desperately needed because climate change is really exacerbating all these tensions that I've just described in the food system.
Would an agrarian revolution in China and India along the lines of what we had in this country a couple of centuries ago help the efficiency of food production in those countries?
Absolutely. A lot of the technology, the sensors, the way to measure water, all these places where there's opportunities in venture capital to invest have sort of got limited to the US, to the Europe, and to Latin America. And you have small-scale farming, and this technology hasn't adapted to the needs of those countries. There are new companies, for example, there's Gramophone in India, a small company that's on mobile devices providing Indian farmers information on seed technology, when to plant, what are satellite weather patterns looking like. That is all needed because Indian Southeast Asian, African technology really hasn't advanced since the 1960s Green Revolution. And a lot of advances have come elsewhere, but we need to sort of adapt to those worlds. And that will cause a big increase in food production, which is again going to be down 12% just because of climate change.
Which is really alarming. I mean, you make the point that Western-style diets are going to be the growing preference. I mean, that is more resources intensive. Can production keep up with those changes?
Production can keep up with those changes. It will require this big modernization of the farming system, and it does create some interesting opportunities for investors. So one example is meat production. Now you want to go at the greener end of meat, places where the methane and other sort of risks are manageable. But really the affluence in Asia is going to meet much more meat production, much more diets that are similar to Western diets, and a whole range of opportunities in these sectors that's actually much more resilient, we feel, as an investment trend than plant-based meats in others, which are languishing at 0.2% of meat consumption.
Yeah, but you're also quite sceptical about the prospects for the cultivated meat sector.
Cultivated meat, you can get chicken nuggets now in Singapore. Israel is doing some work, but it's pretty limited. Essentially, there are about hundreds of firms, all small, very unclear as an investor which one will succeed, which one won't. I think it's much more a place where government comes in and does primary research, and we're still 10 years away where investors find a clear winner where they should go after that. And in particular, it's going to be easier, and I think for much simpler proteins. We are not going to have sort of prime rib steaks out of cultivated meats over the next 10 years, but you might get egg whites that go into cakes and so on that will be created through these means. That's probably where investors should go, but more in VC, and I think still where government rather than private investors will find opportunities over the next 5 years.
All right, Tom, there's so much more I wanted to ask you, but I'm afraid we're out of time. But it's a fascinating paper. Thanks for talking it through with us.
Thank you.
A bit more breaking news to bring you now. The Duke of Sussex has lost a bid to bring a second High Court challenge against the Home Office over his security arrangements when visiting the UK. Our royal correspondent, Laura Bundock, has the details. Laura.
Well, security has always been a hugely contentious issue for Prince Harry ever since he left his role as a senior working royal. He's not entitled to security or automatic police protection when he or his family are in the UK. He was challenging that decision, and this case was in particular about the decision not to let him pay for his own protection. Now, Harry's lawyers had argued that this question about whether or not he could pay for it had not been taken correctly. He said that it had been taken by which is this executive committee for the protection of royalty and VIPs, and it should have been taken, his lawyers claim, by the Home Office instead. They'd argued that under the Police Act of 1996 there was provision for private individuals to be able to pay for their own policing. However, when this preliminary hearing was heard at the High Court, the Met Office made it very clear they thought this would be unjust, that you should have wealthy individuals able to pay for their own policing, that it was not a fair decision, not a fair situation, and it wasn't right that the richer people should be able to pay for policing this way. Harry has lost this appeal. He was wanting a judicial review into the decision. He has lost that bid today. This is just one of a couple of cases he has about this decision regarding his security. He's also challenging how that original decision was taken, and don't forget, we've also got the phone hacking cases underway as well at the High Court as well. The most important, the most prominent of those is this full trial at the moment against Mirror Group newspapers. But the breaking news today is that Harry has lost one of his bids about the security situations. He will not be able to challenge this decision taken that he cannot pay for his own policing.
Okay, thanks, Laura. Recent updates from the commercial property sector have pointed to the damage done to the sector over the last 17 months by rising interest rates. They've impacted some property valuations as well as hitting development activity. Well, today Assura, the leading primary care property investor and developer, reported a pre-tax loss of £119.2 million for the year to the end of March. That compared with a profit of £155.8 million in the same period a year ago, and reflected a write-down in the value of the company's property portfolio. Well, joining me now for more on this is the Chief Executive of Assura, Jonathan Murphy. Jonathan, good to see you again this morning. I mean, the key point here is this is a non-cash write-down, and your rental income was actually up 9.1%.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you said at the start that all commercial property companies have been impacted, and I'm afraid we're no different. So, but overall, we had a 6% write-down in the property value. That's a lot less than most other companies have seen, and that reflects the fact that, all our buildings are occupied by government-backed tenants who've got very long-term, secure tenancies in place, and the cash flows are rock solid, as you say. So, 9% growth in our net rental income, which has given us the confidence to announce another increase in the dividend. So yes, we feel, of course, we're affected, but we feel we're in a very strong position.
Good to hear. Now, at the tail end of last year, you said that you were going to be slightly more cautious about developments in the near term. Has anything changed since then to alter your thinking?
Yeah, no, we remain active. So we're on site with 10 schemes at the moment, and we've got plans to start 5 schemes. But if you asked me that question 6 months ago, we probably were looking to start in double digits. So yes, we are reducing the number of new projects, and those are essential healthcare facilities that we were looking to deliver. But the problem we've faced is rising construction costs. I'm sure you've read about that for the house building sector as well. So with those rising costs, it takes we then need to pass that on, unfortunately, that extra cost to the NHS in terms of higher rents, and that's going to take a long time in terms of those negotiations. So we're just moving a little bit more cautiously on some of those developments, but all those projects are still required. We're still very confident we will deliver them, but just probably going to take a little longer than we would have liked.
What would you need to see, Jonathan, to make you start deploying capital a little more aggressively?
It'd be very strict. I mean, if we were able to achieve, the increased rent levels that the costs are requiring, if the NHS was able to meet those additional costs, then we'd be willing to start the projects tomorrow. Those are conversations that we've got going right across the country. We've got projects right across the UK that we're looking to roll out, and in some places we are seeing agreements on those increased costs, and we'll press on with those. So yeah, an increase in the overall rent position would enable us to move much faster on these new projects.
You mentioned you were seeing higher development costs. Give me an idea of the sort of scale of the increases that you've been experiencing.
Over the last 2 or 3 years, it's in excess of 50%. So very significant increases. Currently, what we're asking the NHS to fund to reflect that, is probably a minimum of a 30% increase in the rent level, which is very challenging, of course. For the NHS at a time when the budgets are under pressure, but the lack of facilities also causes costs in the system in other ways. So if you can't be treated in a community facility in your GP surgery and you have to go to hospital, that's much more expensive for the system. So it's a little bit of false economy, unfortunately. If we could invest in modern out of hospital facilities, then overall for the NHS that would see costs fall. But in the short term, it's an increase in that rent level.
Now, we've talked about this before, Jonathan, but for the benefit of new viewers, give me an idea of how often rents are reviewed in the portfolio.
Yeah, so we have a standard agreement with the NHS. So we typically have a 21-year lease, and we look at the rent every 3 years. And every 3 years, it's assessed in light of the rent levels for other medical centres in that location. So it's a 3-yearly rent review pattern. Now we have other tenants like pharmacy tenants where it's just based on indexation, so it looks at CPI. But for the NHS, it's effectively an open market review every 3 years.
Now, you've also got a growing Irish business. What are you seeing in Ireland?
Yeah, no, Ireland is got very similar drivers to the UK. So, they have a need for investment in out of hospital capacity. We've got 2 projects that we've completed. We're on site with another 2, and we've got 3 starting shortly. So it's a very similar market to the UK in terms of that need for investment, and we see significant scope for us to expand over there as well. So small scale at the moment. But clearly plenty of potential for further growth over the Irish Sea as well, yes.
Now, in the recent past, you've not been afraid of disposing of property assets where you've seen the need to. What are you doing on the front right now?
Yeah, so clearly the markets are more challenging. So you've got to look to self-help in terms of looking to fund the growth in the business. So we disposed of 65 assets in the first half of last year, and we were able to sell those at above book value. That's a fantastic outcome in this market. And I think
this is Starr Radio
in healthcare assets such as ours. People recognise the long-term trend. The need for
Hi guys, this is your friend Uruj from Sendwave.
SendWave is a money transfer app that is used by people all over the world to send money to their loved ones in Africa. With SendWave, you can send money to Ghana, Nigeria, Kenya, Uganda, and Tanzania. And the best part is, SendWave is absolutely commission-free. Our exchange rates are excellent. You can see for yourself by checking them out on our website. So how do you use SendWave? SendWave is an app that you can download onto your phone from the App Store or Google Play Store. The app is free to download. After downloading it, just open the app and enter your name, email, and phone number. That's it. You're good to go. Make sure you use the promo code SR. S for Starr, R for Radio. This promo code will give you £5 free credit to send to Africa on your first transaction. Your money will be delivered to your recipient within seconds. Feel free to call me on 0749 7377 647 at any time. I'll be happy to tell you all about SendWave and help you in any way I can. Remember to use the promo code SR for £5 free credit. Vedase.
Hi everyone, it's your girl BB Clement, the author of How to Go From Employee to Entrepreneur and the host of your weekly business show, BB Means Business, the show where we discuss everything you ever wanted to know about business but you were afraid to ask. How do I start my business? How do I raise the finance? How do I grow my business? Where am I going to find my customers? Join me every Tuesday at 1:30 p.m. on Starr Radio UK to get all the information and tips that you need to become a successful entrepreneur and become financially free. Remember, don't let life dictate to you. Rather, put your signature on life.
Industrialist and former chief executive at Siemens UK. Jürgen, good to see you this morning. Let's start with these.
Are you looking for the fastest, reliable, and trustworthy door-to-door shipment company? Well, look no further. When was the last time your family received a shipment back in Ghana on time and in time? You are not sure? Well, Lamb Shippers, we pride ourselves with being the fastest, reliable, and trustworthy shippers you can use. You are assured of a prompt pickup anywhere in the UK by our personnel. They also make sure your items are well packaged to get to its destination in time. When it comes to door-to-door shipment, look no further. Well, Lamb Shippers, contact us on 07939009321 or 07498911820. Or you can visit our website www.welllamb.co.uk. You can also drop us a mail, info@welllamb@gmail.com. Well Lamb Shippers, fast, reliable, and trustworthy.
Hi there. Are you dreaming of owning your own house in Ghana? Then you will need a well-documented piece of land that is free from troubles. I highly recommend My Africa Property for any size of land that you will need. With My Africa Property, lands are available in Pram, Sopoli, Tohenia, Ogome, Dodova, Winneba, and many other locations at affordable prices. These locations are about an hour away from the airport, only 35 minutes from the motorway, 10 minutes drive from Central University College, 10 minutes drive to the beach, and close to Pram Senior High School and Ghana Men's Soccer Center of Excellence. For more details, visit our website www.myafricaproperty.com or call our UK office on 0208 123 2523. For our US and Canada offices, call us on +1 585 184 994145. You can also email us at ghana@myafricaproperty.com.
Tune in to On Point here on Starr Radio UK with Empress Regina every Monday at 5 p.m. GMT. Looking forward to your company.
Check me out.
He tells me my energy is making him tired.
Yes!
How do you get the energy to do
I've been told that I have a lot of energy, but my goodness, I think today I have met my match, people. I have met my match, Miss Suzanne. Wow, amazing.
One of the things that's the start of the darkness. Of darkness.
So what did that
myself and the world will adjust. And 2019.
Forget the proverbial boardroom. Join me, Simone Frazier, on The CEO, the program that gives you the driving seat over your life. Every Tuesday, 8 p.m. only on Starr Radio.
In your car,
at work,
at home,
on your smartphone.
The best radio show
all around the world.
Broadcasting worldwide, online 24/7.
In your car.
At work.
At home.
On your smartphone.
This is Starr Radio UK.
Are you ready to turn it up?
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Heart is aching. Smile even though it's breaking. When there are clouds in the sky, you get by. If you smile through your fear and sorrow, smile and maybe tomorrow you find that life is still worthwhile if you just smile. Hey, this is Archie and you are listening to Starr Radio UK and the Morning Show.
This is Starr Radio. This is
UK.
Starr Radio
UK.
This is Starr Radio
UK.
This is Starr Radio
UK.
All of you make my heart beat. You make a doubt they fade. Jesus, and that's what makes you great.
Okay, let me say massive good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good dawn to you wherever you might be on planet Earth, and those of you on other planets as well. We want to welcome you all to the Starr Radio UK Tuesday edition of the Morning Show, of course. Today is the 23rd day of May 2023, time now 10:43 from the heart of London. My apologies for the late start of the program. We were stuck in some traffic somewhere. Then we managed to get in and then we had to just start everything. But you know what? When I was stuck in the traffic, I was thinking, oh God, I'm missing my people, you know. And I need to be here. I need to be here. But thank God for the able production of Mr. Francis Guy, my able producer. Francis, good morning to you. But let me say good morning to my colleague, Mr. Olayomi with him and myself and our able producer, Mr. Francis Guy. We're going to be making big waves today, of course, with you. So let me say good morning to Bishop Adesina, Anthony Adede G, Aziz, Maxwell, Moyiwa, good morning to you. Let me say good morning to Olakunle, Shamsuddin. Now, every wonderful person, every one of you who tunes in each day to listen to us is a wonderful person. And I say, thank you very much for your patronage, but continue to stay with us. Don't touch the dial. It's going to be another smasher of a program.
You make a dawn.
Well, if you don't know, now you know. I am the one and
This
only.
is the morning show with Archie.
Okay, so let's crack on. By way of the program, I'm going to bring you the quote for the day, the weather forecast will follow suit, then the travel update as well. We'll move on from there to have a look at some of the stories making the rounds across the globe, known as Global Trotting. And then we'll move on from there to have a look at in-depth analysis of stories that is making the rounds in Nigeria, known as the updates from Nigeria with Mr. Olayomi Koiki. The program continues from there, and then we'll continue to look at some of the other stories making the rounds across the globe. At 12 o'clock, the lines are open for you to add your voice to the discussion. At 12:30, the program is brought to an end. And that is how the program is going to be. But this afternoon, exactly at 1:30, we'll be having BB Clement on BB Means Business once again. So, I say it once again. Welcome on board. Felix, good morning. Kojo, good morning. Mr. Adesina, good morning to you as well. Wherever you are, I hope you are all doing very, very well. Until Izzy, I'm watching. Okay, so let's crack on. Patience gives you the ability to create your own opportunities with time. Patience gives you the abilities to create your own opportunities in time. So be patient.
They fade.
At times when you rush,
Jesus,
you miss it.
and that's what makes you great.
So as a friend will say, haste slowly. Okay, let's crack on. And when it comes to the weather front, well, yesterday we were promised a nice sunshine, but you know what? It was all cloudy through the day until latter part of the day before we had a very some evening. In the evening, we had some sunshine coming through, bringing out that warmth that people were craving for. But today, this afternoon, we'll see plenty of sunny spells around with just a few patches of cloud drifting in at times. It will stay dry throughout the day. Now, tonight, areas of cloud will build in for a time, but a few clear breaks will still be possible. It will remain dry, light, variable winds expected as well. Temperature is going to be 19 degrees, the lowest is going to be 8 degrees. Pollen level is going to be moderate, UV level high, pollution low. Sunset 20:57, sunrise for tomorrow morning 04:58 hours. How the sun rises too early for some of us. Yeah. Okay, so welcome. We're going to take a quick break, and once we come back, I bring you the travel update. So stay tuned. Don't touch the dial. Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London.
Hi everyone, it's your girl BB Clement, the author of How to Go From Employee to Entrepreneur, and the host of your weekly business show, BB Means Business. The show where we discuss everything you ever wanted to know about business, but you were afraid to ask. How do I start my business? How do I raise the finance? How do I grow my business? Where am I going to find my customers? Join me every Tuesday at 1:30 p.m. on Starr Radio UK to get all the information and tips that you need to become a successful entrepreneur and become financially free. Remember, don't let life dictate to you. Rather, put your signature on life.
This is Starr Radio UK.
Okay, so keep your eyes on the roads. So keeping updated. I promise I'll be on the Starr Radio travel update that comes to every weekday from 10:40. It's not 10:48. What's your travels like this morning? Share with us. It doesn't matter where you are listening or watching us from. We are a worldwide radio station, and therefore we got worldwide listenership. Whatever you're saying might help somebody on their travels. What about that? Okay. So those of you in London on the underground, good service throughout London, traveling good service, DLR good service. We only have a problem on the London Overground. Minor delays between Stratford and Willesden Junction due to a points failure at Stratford. Good service on all the other routes though. Now moving on straight to the major routes in London. A1, A20, A23 and A41 have all got serious delays. Also Central London Red routes, serious delays there. That aside, all the others, no exceptional delays. But keep your eyes on the roads. Moving on straight to the river bus. I can tell you shortly, good service there. The London Cable Car, good service there as well. And to the final segment of the travel updates, that is the National Rail. What do we have? Now, cross country, Great Western Railway have all got severe delays. That aside, East Midlands Railway and Great Northern, Southwestern, and Southern have got minor delays. So please check before you leave. But as I would say all the time, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good dawn to you wherever you might be on planet Earth. Enjoy your commute for today. But you know what? Continue to keep those eyes on the roads.
Hi everyone, it's your girl BB Clement, the author of How to Go From Employee to Entrepreneur, and the host of your weekly business show, BB Means Business. The show where we discuss everything you ever wanted to know about business, but you were afraid to ask. How do I start my business? How do I raise the finance? How do I grow my business? Where am I going to find my customers? Join me every Tuesday at 1:30 p.m. on Starr Radio UK to get all the information and tips that you need to become a successful entrepreneur and become financially free. Remember, don't let life dictate to you. Rather, put your signature on life.
Archie on Starr Radio. Nobody does it better.
Welcome back to the program. It is Starr Radio UK. It is your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Bringing the time now to 10:51, and it's now time for Global Trotting. So if you are sitting, sit down very comfortably, buckle up. If you are standing, hold on to something. Get yourself a hot or cold drink, whichever is appropriate. And let's take this journey to where? To the known. What we're going to be telling you about Yes. So straight on, let's go to what is happening in Nigeria, where Yomi is going to bring you the details. But some of the headlines: Foolish Biden's delegation to Tinubu's inauguration. Well, that shows how they have actually accepted the presidency of Tinubu. Now, the United States President Joe Biden has named his delegation to attend the inauguration of President-elect Bola Tinubu. And the Naira begins weak on flip side against dollar. The local currency decreased by 0.11% as against Naira 463 in exchange for the dollar at the close of business in May 19. Now, gunmen attack checkpoint near Ebonyi State. Now, police headquarters kill inspector, injure 2 others. And Nigerian court has adjourned Sean Kuti's case as the Lagos chief magistrate fails to attend sitting. Yeah, that's it. They started. But I heard that the judge should have just gone on to say that, well, if you decide no show for the prosecution, then we can just release the person on bail. What about that? But they do that at times just to delay the case and then keep you in there. Okay. And police snap suspect for allegedly defrauding Australian of $60,000. And then most villains weep as they bid farewell to General Dangerfield. Who is General Dangerfield? You want to know more? Wait for Mr. Olayomi Koiki. UK Special Forces operated secretly in Nigeria. That's what the report is saying. 23rd of May, 2023. Who and what were they doing? Nigeria loses 2,500 children daily from lack of skilled birth attendants, Vice President Osibanjo is saying. Now, so for their tenure, or that 8 years that they've been together, they've been at the helm of affairs in the country. How have they improved the health care of the common Nigerian? Do you see any improvement in the healthcare when it comes to Nigeria as a whole? I wanted to share with us. You can put it on our Facebook page or any of the social media platforms that we are broadcasting on. And I promise you one thing for sure: I'm going to share it with our lovely listeners. But let's move on. Starr Radio UK. It is your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Moving on to other stories making the rounds this morning. Sudanese hopeful new truce will end suffering. Sudanese people are hopeful that a 1-week humanitarian ceasefire will end the sufferings hours before the ceasefire was to take effect after. Now, interestingly, if it holds, the ceasefire holds or not, people are running out of the country to become what? Go and live in what? Tents? You've displaced them. All for what? Okay. South African man arrested for porn images with president faces superimposed on them. My goodness. I bet it's going to be going down big time. Okay. And Senegal attention. Who are the youths ready to die for Osman Sonko? That's the question being posed. A Ukrainian and Moroccan foreign ministers meet in Rabat. And South Africa, amid fears of blackout, electricity minister is saying. And in Tunisia, journalists protest in Tunis over press freedom. But well, is the leader going to be hacking into it or not? That is more. Bishop suspect politicians of. I'm going to tell you more on that when it comes to DRC. When we bring you all the stories making the rounds in other parts of the country. Of the world, my apologies, on the African continent. MPP NDC deploy high-ranking officers as polling agents in high-stakes Kumewu by-election. So this one, Fili Gadochi, everybody in there. Let's see what happens. Will somebody be able to nick some ballot box or punch some people in the face and do all sorts as they normally do? Bishop Adesina, good morning to you and to all the wonderful viewers and listeners in that office. We salute you all and I hope you are all doing very good. I thank God Nigeria has not happened to you all. Now, don't repeat Ayawaso West War gun debacle in Kumawu today. Peace Council urges MPP and NDC. Who perpetrated the act? It was the MPP who did that. So, okay. Illegal mining, the cost of mining outweighs the benefits we get. Daryl Bosu is saying. But some are thinking that if we legalize it and find a way, put them in corporate bodies, or what do they even call them? Associations. So we are able to take some money from them out of whatever they are making. I mean, regulate it in a way so that nobody will just go on, what do you call it? Just go on mine and then just run off with it without seeing to it that the particular space or area or the environment that was used in that mining had actually been reinvigorated. Finding a way, I mean, supposed to be the way that's supposed to be, or the regenerated, or whatever we want to be terming it. What do you think? Maybe that would do, but who will be given the opportunity to do so? Where are we sure that those monies will be kept and then will not be misused? And all we have all that we have all sorts excuses where we cannot account for whatever we make. Now, Major Muhammad's murder trial jury panel not properly constituted. Who are the members of the panel? Now, police assures resident of Kumawu of peaceful by-election. I trust the police, the IGP, Inspector General of Police. I seem to trust him in a way. So I hope that he will be able to see to it that there is peace and absolute peace in that election that is going to be taking place, or is taking place today. Now, Biden and McCarthy hold productive depth talks. The U.S. president and top Republicans say their meeting was productive despite no deal. So, you think that Biden will be a good, should run for the next, though he's thrown his heart into the ring for that, but do you think that he needs to back off, especially when they were saying that when they went to Japan, he nearly tripped or something. He was walking. It was a bit wobbly there. But, you know, we talk about institutions that work. He can sit in his room just like that, and everything will be working the way they're supposed to, because their institutions are robust enough. But what about ours? Okay, Bishop Adesina says a dropout secondary school student in Ekiti State, Yoruba land, southwest Nigeria, generate electricity powering a full house and gadget using 2 stones located beside the house. My goodness, how did he do that? That'll be interesting. I want pictures of it. That'll be great. That'll be great, so that we can promote that individual, and even, if possible, try to see whether we can get him to be interviewed by Mr. Olayomi Koiki. Let me see, give him some international exposure. Let's see what happens from there. He can do something. What about that? But this all coming away from Starr Radio UK. In other stories, Russia battles armed group in border region. Now, yesterday there was that thing there. I was a bit scared. I was like, what is happening there? But more is going to be coming your way. UK reject calls to return Ethiopian prince's body. Well, why are they rejecting the call to do so? Why have they kept the Ethiopian prince's body? Okay. Moving on. To the UK front proper. Now, police attacked in riots after teens killed in a crash. The link between the deaths and the disorder remains unclear, a police boss has said. Now, we're going to tell you more about that. Dominic Raab to stand down as MP at next election. And Madeleine McCann's police begin reservoir search. Divers enter the waters, which are about 30 miles from where the toddler went missing 16 years ago. Well, they want closure. So what about that? Prince Harry loses challenge to pay for security. Home Office says wealthy individuals should not be able to buy security from the police. Okay, so you can come and hire me. Yes, myself, Olayomi Koiki, Mr. Francis Gaye, and a few of us. We can get on, can't we? All right, then. We can protect him like no man's business. All right, then. Before we take a musical break and then get Mr. Olayomi Koiki to join in, Bishop Adesina says, poor talented boy, full with animals, treasure, and skills, but in a wrong country, who careless of him, despite in need of his productivity. Bishop, if you can get a picture of him, and then as I'm saying, I promise that one for sure. We'll try to see where we can get Olayomi Koiki to interview him. I can interview him on our the morning show, and then we can interview him on the Niger Voices as well, and we'll see how best we can be of help, so that something good can come out of him. We've got people who are so talented, but our system is such that It's like the story about Jesus saying the sower going around and just throwing the seedlings around. Now there are some of the soil is very good. You throw it there, and then the ground is nice and everything, and the seed, the plant begins to grow. But then there are these thorns that seem to be, and that is how our system, our governance system seems to be like, and it just holds you and pierces you and hold you down, and nothing good comes out of you. But if it's been able to do that, wow, can you just imagine, given the proper environment, what it can do? My goodness. All right then. So it is Starr Radio UK. We'll take a musical break. We come back and we'll be having Mr. Olayomi joining in. And this is from the one and only Elijah. And it says, Jesus, you never fail. Hallowed be your name. Enjoy it, and I'll be with you. Stay tuned. Don't you go away.
Glory to your name, Jesus. Aha! Put your hands together, come on! We worship you, Lord. With open hands, we say, we lift our voices and say, Hallowed be your name. Whatever comes our way, we lift our voices and say, Hallowed be. Sing it all around the world. Oh Lord.
This is Starr Radio UK.
Who is to come?
And let me say thank you very much to Bishop Adesina for sending that information. And thank you. We promise to work on that as well.
The beginning and the end. We lift our voices and say,
This is Starr Radio UK.
With a grateful heart, come on. If you feel voice, say, Jesus, Jesus, you never fail. You never fail. You are just the same. Yesterday, today. Take a look at me, the one you say. Oh Lord, hallowed be your name. Lift up your voices and say, Jesus, Jesus, you never fail. You will never fail. You are just the same. Yesterday, today. Take a look at me, the one you say. Oh Lord, hallowed be. I can save you. Put your hands together, come on. Oh Lord, to the mighty God, to all the words that is to come. Come on. Put your hands together. We worship you, Lord Jesus. Oh, we'll take that one more time now. With open hands, we say, wave your hands to him. We lift our voices and say, Hallowed be.
Enlighten your day with Starr Radio.
Dear Lord, no one, whatever comes our way, we lift our voices and say, Hallowed be your name. Oh my, the one who is to come. Are you ready to meet him? We lift our voices and say, Hallowed be your name. Oh dear Lord, the beginning and the end. We lift our voices and say,
your name from Eli J. Take a look at me.
Your name. With a grateful heart, come on, sing it out. Jesus, Jesus.
Hope you're enjoying the show this morning. It is Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Time now 7 minutes past the top of the hour. As I had said, we're going to be having Mr. Olayomi Koiki joining in. Share the broadcast with your friends and loved ones and invite them to like our pages as well.
We worship your name, Jesus. Don't stop thanking.
But if you know somebody who's doing something great, then you think that, hey, everyone has to know. Why not? Why not? You know, when it comes to the Western part, the developed part of the world, they have issues when we have people capturing stories about Africa, and every time they just showing something that you look at it and say, really, is that all you can see? And therefore, when we have the opportunity to actually celebrate our kind and do something about that, why not? We're gonna definitely do that. It's all coming from Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. A Tuesday edition of the morning show. 8 minutes past 11 the time. That means that I've got the one and only, the white lion himself, Mr. Olayomi Koiki, in house.
My beautiful Jesus, come on. Jesus.
So let me say good morning to you, Mr. Olayomi Koiki. How are you doing, sir?
I'm doing very well. Good morning to you, Mr. Archie, and a very good morning to all our listeners and viewers from around the world. And welcome once again to the Starr Radio UK network, the African and Caribbean radio station in London, as we prepare for the morning update from Nigeria.
Okay. Hope you had a good night, though.
Yes, I do. As you try to get 8 hours sleep, I think by the time you wake up, you are just ready to fire on all the cylinder. I went to bed just at about 2100 hours, and I believe that is the medical line that you must have that 8 hours, apart from maybe some kind of notification that could come through the phone. As long as it's not emergency, you can always just stop that notification. So I woke up just about 5 o'clock in the morning, and we believe that we've already done justice to some of the conversation, especially when it comes to Nigeria, because Nigeria is going through a new transition, and there's all eyes on Nigeria as we speak right now, which is exactly what we're going to be doing again this morning.
All right, all eyes on Nigeria this morning. So wherever you are, let your eyes also be on Starr Radio UK, as we also bringing you everything that you need to know with Mr. Olayomi Koiki in our North London studios. I'm actually here in the South studios, and we're bringing you updates from Nigeria on the morning show. Now let's go on straight. Well, Joe Biden's administration seemed to have endorsed Tinubu now, because earlier on we had what do you call him, making a call, placing a call through to Tinubu. That was it last week? Yes, last week, and we did talk about that, and because it seemed to be that Tinubu's camp were waiting for that endorsement. Now, not only the endorsement, but the president had gone on to release a list of delegation that is coming to the inauguration. You hear me?
You wonder why the president himself is not coming down to this powerful inauguration, because as long as they keep telling us that Nigeria is the most populous black nation in the world, so you would expect Joe Biden to make the trip, but Joe Biden is facing a lot back in the U.S., especially with the debt in America. But apart from that, they've put up a very powerful delegation that will be attending the presidential inauguration that is coming up on the 29th of May, which is just 6 days. So we are now countdown. Mr. Biden has announced the designation of a presidential delegation to attend the inauguration of President-elect Bola Tinubu. So that gives that, as much as we saw the call came through from Anthony J. Blinken last week, now the confirmation that America is not waiting for any petition outcome, they are going ahead, to fulfill what democracy means to them, by allowing the inauguration that the Nigerian President Muhammadu Buhari is putting together, because there is now what we call change of guard, which have already continued in Abuja. Who are those that will be attending? Mr. Joe Biden today announced this delegation. The Honorable Michelle Fuge is the Secretary of the United States Department of the Housing and Urban Development, will lead this delegation. Members of the presidential delegation also have Mr. David Green, who is actually in charge of the U.S. Embassy in Abuja, the Honorable Sidney Kamalag, the Dove, United States Representative, Democrat in California. Honorable Marisa Lago is the Undersecretary of Commerce of International Trade. Remember that the U.S. wants as many trade with Nigeria, and now that Tinubu is going to be taking over, that trade must continue as well. General Michael Langley is the commander of the U.S. African Command. I remember it was questioned surrounding the Americans' training in some countries that eventually had led to coup, like Guinea. The Honorable Enoch Tombong is the director of the United States Trade and Development Agency. Honorable Mary Kathleen, Assistant Secretary of the State for the Bureau of African Affairs, and Honorable Jude, Development Special Assistant to the President, and also the Senior Director for African Affairs and the National Security Council. And the last person is Honorable Mode Muyunga, is the Assistant Administrator for the Bureau of Africa. So you can tell that most U.S. Agency for International Development. So most of those that are coming down have got a link to Joe Biden when it comes to Africa.
Wow, listeners, it's quite an interesting delegation there. And does this endorsement actually make the tribunal case fall flat on the face? What do you think?
Well, the tribunal case itself is since it has always been the nature of Nigeria, going to court. I mean, Buhari went to court a few times until 2015 when Jonathan did not, decide to allow any uproar. So Jonathan admitted. But this one, in terms of the petition, which is still ongoing, there is no outcome yet. Maybe when the outcome finally comes, maybe Joe Biden will send another delegation when the president will be changed to the new one if that election petition goes against Bola Tinubu. But it shows that American is not waiting for that. But like I said, should that happen then we might be having the history of Nigeria running two presidential inauguration, one on the May 29th, but definitely the other one is not going to happen on the May 29th. That is if only the election petition result changes. Joe Biden might probably have to pull those that are coming down and allow maybe a rerun, because rerun is not something new. Turkey is just going to be doing a rerun in the next couple of days because there was not a very clear outcome to their presidential election that occurred last week.
Well, and in Kenya it did happen a few years back where the tribunal or the Supreme Court ruled that there should be a rerun of the election because of some anomalies there. But let's see what happens. But if you're listening to us, I want you to post your comments there. Do you think that there is a need for the opposition parties, let me put it that way, or to Atiku and Pichorobi to still pursue their case in the Supreme in the tribunal? At the tribunal, do they have to just abandon it? Because after all, the big weights in the world have actually endorsed. Let me put it that way: the government of Tinubu before if he's sworn in. Let us know about that. Adejoke Olaniyi Obadera, yes, equator to you as well. We hope you are doing very, very well. Okay, now let's move on to some of the other stories making the rounds this morning, and that pertains to the Naira. I thought that maybe having a list coming out from the United States of America and everything that actually, should actually endorse or bump up the Naira rate on the global market, so that at least gives a bit of surety that the big hands are actually endorsing them, and most of the time those are the things that actually pushes country's currency up. But it doesn't look to be that way. It fell by 0.11%. Yomi.
Well, Naira continue to the value of the Naira, continue to drop. Not because of anything, is because the economy of Nigeria relies on little bit or no more of importation. And if you're importing the major aspect of what you're using in the country, if you rely on more on importation, that would literally mean that the economy would have a big impact, on Naira. Like I said, the pound sterling as of today is about almost 940 Naira to a pound. But what is the news saying, regarding, this issue of Naira? It seems that the headline again this morning says, the Naira begins on a flip side against the dollar. Emefiele, the central bank governor, was speaking yesterday at the inauguration of the Dangote refinery that took place with a lot of dignitary right there. And he was actually saying that Nigeria is going to be saving about almost 30 million, if not, $billion dollars, regarding the new project that I believe $30 billion in terms of what we're going to be saving. But at the moment, when they talk about the parallel market, this is the exchange rate in the bank, but that does not mean that if you go into the Nigerian bank today and you need about $5,000, you'll be able to get that out. Naira on Monday depreciated against the dollar at the exchange rate of 463.50 Naira. Again, this is the official bank rate. But I can assure you that any Nigerian student coming to UK or traveling outside the country will not be able to get any dollar, because you'll be told to go to the black market, which you will end up paying about almost 700 to 800 Naira, for the same, exchange rate at the investors and the exporters windows. What we then can say is that the local currency decreased by 0.11% as against 463 Naira. It exchanged for the dollar at the close of the business, on Monday. The Naira sold as low as 460 Naira to a dollar within the trade as well. A total of $106.84 million was actually traded at the official investors and exporter window. These are those that rely more on the dollar, for their businesses. Either you are bringing in pharmaceutical materials into the country, or you are bringing in importation of goods, then you would have to source for that huge amount. We're not talking about $5,000, $10,000 here. We're talking about businesses and investors that really need that dollar. Even the airline were stuck at some point because they couldn't move their money out of Nigeria, and we saw some of the airline removing their services in Nigeria, which eventually led to where the CBN quickly injected money so that we can have this airline to continue to operate. Starr Radio UK, I'll come back again to you in the studio.
Yes, listeners, Mr. Olayomi Koike in our North London studios. I'm actually here in the South studios, and we are bringing you updates from Nigeria. Interesting. So this morning, have you been to the bank? How the prices on the market? Have you seen any changes in them, or is it a galloping inflation, and therefore you go to bed, you wake up in the next day, everything seems to be going up, or you go there in an hour's time, you go back, and the prices of Gary or everything seems to be skyrocketing? What do you think about all that? Let us hear from you. All right, then. Now let's move on to some other stories as well. Now, interestingly, the grandmother was killed by the military from being thrown from her property downstairs, and then fella himself died, but he had so much trouble with the military regime. Now this gentleman whose what picture you can see there,
Sean Kuti.
Sean also had a banter with a police officer, slapping the police officer, which we will not encourage people to do so. Okay, don't do that, because they are the ones, they are supposed to be the custodians of the law. If they do something else, we have to find another way of seeking redress there. But Yomi, why is it that the prosecution decided not to attend court, whether deliberately or they were late or something happened, and then the judge, instead of maybe saying that, okay, let's grant him bail, let him go, and then we'll call him back or something, decided, no, we've adjourned the case. So to when?
Well, not too long. I mean, he will be returning back again to the court tomorrow, as the court has adjourned Seun Kuti trial to Wednesday tomorrow, the 24th. Like you said, the situation with Seun Kuti seems that the Nigerian police is trying to use him as a scapegoat so that another Nigerian will not attempt such. Even though, like you said, we do not condone that, from here. But the question again is, we've seen a lot. Atrocity that the Nigerian police have committed. But Justice Adiola Olatubosun, that is the Chief Magistrate Court in Yaba in Lagos State, has reportedly adjourned the trial of the Afrobeat musician Seun Kuti to Wednesday, May 24th. The trial, which has been slated for today, was said to have been adjourned as a result of the judge absent from the court, according to the source that pled, not to be mentioned. The trial has now been adjourned. The question is that Seun Kuti was trying to get a bail, after the incident happened. It's going to almost a week now, if not a little bit more. But it seems the police want to keep him there for as much as possible until the trial kickstart. I mean, he has been granted bail, to some sum of money, and then people that have property close to the court premises. But it seems, like I said, the judge is not there, so we can't blame the court. It seems that maybe the judge could be doing something else. We don't have that information, but what we can say is that the police are now still going to wait for the final outcome of whether Seun Kuti will be found guilty or he will be asked to pay a kind of a fine. But that again will be confirmed tomorrow. But for now, Seun Kuti has been returned again back into the custody of the police in Lagos State.
Okay, so clarification from there. As I did say, the prosecution, not the prosecution, the chief magistrate, as Olayomi Koiki did put across. So the chief magistrate did not attend the court, and of course, it is his court, and therefore, if it's not there, much cannot be done about the case. So, well, at times, people, they like doing this legal gymnastics, or acrobatics, as some of my friend would say, that they want to keep you in there. So this one didn't turn up, this one didn't turn up, and they continue to keep you there. All right then. It is Starr Radio UK. It is the Tuesday edition of the morning show. Mr. Olayomi Koiki and Northland Studios are matching in the South Studios. Now, UK Special Forces operated secretly in Nigeria. Doing what? Yomi?
Well, we know that there's a cordial, good relationship between the US, the UK, the European Union, the African Union. But the report coming out this morning says the United Kingdom Special Forces have been operating secretly in Nigeria, according to the latest report. The British Special Air Service and European countries and other special forces have literally operated clandestinely in Nigeria and 18 other nations over the past 12 years, according to the research. It could be recalled that in 2012, a group of the SBS commandos attempted and failed to rescue a Briton and Italian that was held by the Islamic group in Nigeria. The British SAS also operates secretly in Algeria, Estonia, France, Oman, Iraq, Kenya, Libya, Mali, Cyprus, Pakistan, Somalia, Philippines, Russia, Syria, Ukraine, Yemen, and most recently in Sudan. This is coming actually from the news here in UK, by the mail. A UK special force provided non-combat support during the French military action against the jihadist group in Mali. They also trained the Nigerian, Moroccan, Cameroon soldiers and collected intelligent threat assessment in response to the increase. The elite military units don't have UK minister publicity certifying their operations, thus they operate covertly, but based on the media leak, a research organization called Action on Gun Violence has now compiled a list of the operation from 2011, adding up to May 23rd, report the title as Britain's Special Forces on Service in at least 19 countries. It gives the impression that the Prime Minister and the Defense Secretary frequently sent personnel of the SAS and the Special Boat Service and the Special Reconnaissance Regiment on dangerous operation usually when Britain is not at war, according to the Guardian UK reporting this morning.
Well, it's interesting because it looks like the presidency, that is, or the federal government, didn't know that operation was taking place, right?
Not literally that they do know, because most of the time, if this is covered, the federal government might not even be aware that they are operating, or probably maybe one or two people is aware, but they probably keep that as a secret.
Well, because I was looking at it and looking at all these the Fulani herdsmen who cross the borders and come into the country and all that stuff that goes on. They said they don't know. I mean, they said the borders are porous and therefore can't know. So if these people who are very sophisticated get on the ground, nobody will know it. So, well, listen to Starr Radio UK. Now, Bishop Adesina says Naira fell from 745 Naira to 760 a week or within a week in the local markets. As this appreciate Yoruba Nation Ruba token ahead, knowing Ruba uses dollar network. Okay, that's USDT and TRC 20. Now it goes on further to say Naira operates two different value. International value is 450 Naira, local value is 760 Naira. It goes on further to say this is why Nigeria CBN restricts Nigerian from annexing Visa card or MasterCard purchasing freely online. You can only use alternative bureau de change operating the local prices. Thank you very much, my bishop. Keep your comments coming through. It is Starr Radio UK.
And if you're buying on some of the, the big network like Alibaba, you cannot buy more than $20 from Nigeria.
Oh, is it? There's a restriction there. My goodness.
There's a restriction here. So that is a big problem for those that are trying to purchase goods worth up to $100. You have to buy them in bit by bit, which is different from what we do here, where you can easily spend up to £300 buying anything from Alibaba. But again, in Nigeria, it's a different thing. So there is a dollar restriction, and it's having a big impact on the investors and those that are doing their small scale businesses from outside, because I do have a family friend that do a lot of shopping online from there, but every time she has to purchase, she cannot spend more than $20 at a go.
Well, listeners, it is Starr Radio UK. That is so you see, those of us here, the advantage that we have. Yeah, good. Bishop Adesina says that corruption from highest order. Interesting, of course. Well, it is the Tuesday edition of the morning show. Updates from Nigeria. Let's go back to Yomi for the rest of the stories making the rounds. Over to you, Yomi.
Well, as the operation for the inauguration is now on a full scale, it's also going to have a lot of security, especially as dignitaries will be traveling to Nigeria within the next 6 days, so the preparation continue. Inauguration, the SSS police have now asked to arrest Nigerians making insightful anti-Tinubu comments. This is actually coming just 6 days before the inauguration. No one can stop the inauguration of Senator Bola Ahmed Tinubu, the president-elect, scheduled for May 29. Ade Omole, the director of the defunct diaspora director of the APC Presidential Campaign Council, has now asked security agency to arrest APC opponent for inciting public against President Tinubu. He's not yet even the president yet. It's just about 6 more days. And you can tell that the media, will be something that we will monitor, while Tinubu becomes the president. No one can stop it, we know that. But the APC director added, we are confident that security agency have the capacity to deal ruthlessly with any breach and therefore call on them to arrest such persons immediately. Nobody's asking for anybody to disturb the peace of the inauguration, but we know that during the campaign, the APC media campaign were trying to push one of the media in Nigeria to be arrested and even removed, because he was not of the same view with the APC. So that is coming from the headline this morning. Governors-elect protest as the outgoing governors shun transition panel. That is coming. We do know that some governors are going to be retaining themselves back because they've won their second time, like the Lagos State and the Ogun State. But there are some governors that will be also leaving because the development have either made them not to come back because of the 8 years, or some that have lost the post. They are now strong indication that the transition process is not going smoothly in many states, as the outgoing governors are allegedly not cooperating with their successors. Following the development, the panel set up by the incoming governors are asking questions on the financial conditions of the state, thus generating tension. Also, Akeredolu, the governor of Ondo State, is already crying out that the 1999 constitution must now be looked into, or if not, power must be devolved to state, and likewise curb importation. That is coming from the Ondo State governor, and likewise the governor forum for the Southwest. Akeredolu, 1999 constitution, states have now been reduced to pathetic beggars. This was actually saying through one of his his media aid at an event yesterday, celebrating the 59th Founders Day Anniversary Lecture Award and the endowment of Adeyemi Federal University. This is what he has to say. The governor, who spoke through his special advisor on the union matters and special duties, Mr. Dari, said there will be no end to the miseries of the people unless the basic law was tinkered with to reposition the country to prepare the production of goods and services. He also said a defected law cannot endanger peace and progress. It is more often than not the source of the seemable intractable crisis. There can be no development in a place where the law and its application are not straight line, also called squid, heavily against the majority of the people. When the law becomes an instrument of repression, society is in peril. So it shows that, as so many people have been talking about the 1999 diktat, it seems now that some of the governors are likewise getting the message as well. At 11:34, we go straight and take more. Not a very good news coming again from the southeast part, Ebonyi State. Gunmen attack checkpoint and a police officer has been killed and 2 of them have been injured as well. Benue State residents have recovered 5 more corpses as the death tolls now hit 22 in what we called herdsmen assault. Benue State, just as Plateau State, continue to be one of those 2 states that are going through a lot when it comes to the assault and the activities of the herders in those states. The breakdown yesterday by the paper showed that 3 children, 2 women were killed and burnt in their houses, while 13 men and 4 soldiers were also killed. The death toll in the armed herdsmen attack on Iyeri village in Ovia Council Ward in Guma local government area of Benue State has now increased to 22. A breakdown on Tuesday showed that the 3 children, 2 women were killed and burnt in their houses. What a very sad situation, as we continue to hope that the peace will reign. But the question is, how will peace reign when the danger is already surrounding every single one of us? We're going to take one more, then go straight to the social media to find out what is happening this morning, as Nigerians are all gluing to continue to monitor the 6 days before the inauguration, or, as we say, is anything going to change as the election petition continue in the country as well? Once again, this is Starr Radio UK. It is the finest African and Caribbean radio station in London. So when we go straight into the Twitter this morning to see what Nigerians are saying and the reaction so far, the Supreme Court is trending, and you can tell the reason why the Supreme Court is trending. And it's not just trending, it's trending at about almost 134,000 tweets so far this morning. It shows that Nigerians are still expecting a better outcome as well. Lawrence Okoro say on May 26th, Bola Tinubu will be disqualified over Shetima's double nomination by the Supreme Court. I'll be giving out this lovely car to one of my obedient followers. Wow. It seems that he's also guaranteed that he wants to give her a car if that is going to happen. Yesterday, a again, the sad reality is that majority of the Nigerian people do not trust the judiciary anymore when it comes to the political cases. Supreme Court will forget that the judiciary is the last hope of a common man and give a flawed judgment from the Hope Uzodinma to Senator Lawan K. So it seems that already is a divided situation. David Odoye says, has revealed plans by Tinubu to make Buhari declare public holiday on Friday, May 26th, so as to stop the judgment by the Supreme Court. Well, we don't have information to that, but we're looking forward to see how that is going to happen. Omo Olodumare, Tinubu Chapo plans for Nigerians what to expect in his presidency, I believe with another video that has been put together. Maybe we should listen to that as we take more from the social media. Once again, this is still Starr Radio UK. It is the finest African and Caribbean radio station. So this video has been put together, and this is what the video soundtracks looks like. Well, we hope Tinubu will be able to recruit 50 million youth into the military, and then they'll be able to eat eba, gari, and cassava, as he said during his manifesto. And there's also many things that we're going to be monitoring as soon as it comes into the the realms of affairs, because manifesto is very, very important. Buhari did promise 3 good things before he came in 2015: corruption, security, and rebranding the economy. He has woefully failed in the 8 years of his running affairs of Nigeria, and he's also saying now that the affairs will be continued by Tinubu because governance is continuity. Starr Radio UK, I come again to you in the studio, Mr. Archie.
Yes, listeners, Mr. Olayomi in our North London studios. We'll be going to the the social media platform in a moment, but it's interesting there, about Gary and everything, and some calling him Tinubu Chapo. Now, Chapo is one of the drug lords. So people are trying to label him that way. But Pastor Mo says, madman, he said, let's say, go and eat cassava, Gary, Ewa. Okay. Bishop Adesina says, what Tinubu, okay, now he says first, he says, he foresaw, putting his clergy hat on, he is a bishop. Now, putting his clergy hat on, he foresaw that Nigerians were crying for 4 years under Tinubu's power reign. So he foresees that. So what are the preparations? What are we going to be doing to actually make sure that, like Joseph, when Pharaoh had a dream in the Bible, and then Joseph went in to interpret the dream, he told them what to do. What do people do now? Now, so what Tinubu will only be able to do is to keep managing the administration of the state and will not be able to improve anything. And it goes on further to say, economically, Tinubu will be facing tension to pay previous government loans due for payment in June. His first month in office, which he is unprepared for. A finance minister already said they have no money. Naira is falling to 1,000 naira to $1 soon. So that means he's just saying that it's going to be calamitous. Now, what do you think about all that? So I'm coming away from Starr Radio UK. But Yomi, has Atiku and Peter Obi, the opposition parties, have they been invited to the inauguration at all?
Well, I haven't seen the invitation list, and I'm not too sure whether even if they're invited, they will accept such an invitation, because we do know that for them, they believe that the election has still not been conducted, in the line of Nigeria Constitution, where some of them argue that the FCT is 25%. Tinubu did not get the 25%. But whether Tinubu will try to put, a hand to say, just let's move the country forward, we will have to wait and see. But we do know that Atiku and Peter Obi have not made that call yet. But Tinubu could be putting a good hand by saying, just come and witness at least the dignitary that will be coming, and let's see how this goes on in terms of change of power.
Okay, and has the American calling the Secretary of State and all those people, the delegation that is coming in, are they going to have a meeting with, because most of the time when there are things like that, they can have the meeting with the opposition as well, so that it seems to be calming things down. Is there any news pertaining to that at all?
Well, we've seen that just after the election, the U.S. government, try as quickly as possible so that Nigeria probably doesn't go into flames, by calming things down. That say, let us go, through the process of court, rather than going onto the street, and destabilize the democracy that is currently, in the process. And they were happy that at least the transition of democracy in Nigeria is still very stable as against other African countries where we've seen military coup that have occurred and that have destabilized, the democracy. So the last thing America, the West and the other African Union will want is, the destabilization of democracy in Nigeria, because it will have a ripple effect across the West Africa and further into the east part of Africa.
And that allusion that May 26th will be the day that the court, the tribunal is going to give a ruling. How true is that?
Well, there's always a lot of truth in any rumor, but sometimes it could just be a speculation. Regardless of whether Tinubu is inaugurated, and then if the court comes back and decide that he's not meant to be the one there, then he would have no other option than to vacate that office. I think what they're just probably to say is that they want to stop that before May 29. How all this is going to happen, we're just 6 days. We will all have to wait and see. But in terms of the 26th, I can just say maybe it's just another rumor, or it could just be those that have the back inside information are probably pushing for that. But if Buhari goes ahead and then grant that day as a public holiday, then the truth will probably be behind what they've said already.
Well, let's see what is going to happen. Tony says, well, you know what? I will support Tinubu if he makes a Yoruba man director of customs for the first time in the history of the country. So, and Yoruba man has never had the top job when it comes to customs. Yomi, is that true?
Well, not just custom, there's a lot of places that the Yorubas have not been given opportunity, to serve. Not just the Yorubas, also, the other ethnic groups as well. And these are the nepotism that have played, especially in the government of President Muhammadu Buhari. I'm trying to see if the engineer can give us a last video behind our camera scene where Buhari was dressing in his a very good outfit. I believe is winding down, as we know. Yes, Tinubu coming in will change a lot of things, in terms of whether it's the security architect that we've seen, or probably maybe the custom. The Nigerian custom has been held, like a family affair, to the northern part of Nigeria. That is not going to happen, but that is subject to what Tinubu will believe, whether to continue with the person there or change it around. But again, as we say, that is President Muhammadu Buhari just at the back there doing the final, I believe he's doing the final work. I'm not too sure what he's doing here, but you can tell, let's bring that a little bit. So that is the President Muhammadu Buhari there, with that beautiful final outfit as he's going through, a little bit of walking there. This was on his official Twitter yesterday, and I'm trying to figure out, because I know he was in Dangote refinery, but all they've said is President Fleet Review. Is reviewing the President Fleet. And yes, the President Fleet as well, we've seen a lot of accident that has happened in there as well, and some losses as well. So that is President Buhari there, inspecting, some of the fleet. Whether Tinubu will be able to get rid of some of the fleet, because Buhari told us he was going to do that, but he never did, but is now winding down finally. So yes, the information says Buhari was checking the fleet, as you can see there, in a full military wear.
Okay, listeners, we'll go back to Yomi for the rest of the stories. But Yomi, there's this story that is a very sad one. Let me just touch on that one and then we go on. Nigeria loses 2,500 children daily from lack of skilled birth attendants. That is having midwives. I mean, can you tell us about that?
Well, when we don't have, the first basic healthcare to look after, someone that is pregnant, because when you're pregnant, the very first stage of pregnancy is very, very important. And I believe this report was coming, even though I've missed where that report was, but I saw it from the Vice President Yemi Osinbajo this morning. The reason why a lot of Nigerians, died or children died is because of that first basic hospital that is not available, especially in the rural area. When we looked at, the one that we show all the time, these are the kind of healthcare facilities that is not up to standard that as many of our rural communities are managing. This is being put together by, one of the governors, Fayemi, that just completed his tenure in Ekiti State. So that would literally mean that more Nigerians would die because of the lack of the good healthcare center. Because if parents can't get to the center and be taken care of, we're likely to lose more, innocent lives before they are born.
Okay, let's go on to the social media, please. Thank you.
We take just 2 or 3 from the social media this morning. Ifafunsho, Kaduna has refinery, Port Harcourt has refinery, Warri has refinery. Dangote refinery is the first refinery in Yoruba land, which is a private refinery and the biggest in Africa. That should not end there. Ondo State must now build their own seaport. The railway project in Yoruba land must connect to all the Yoruba region for security and economic improvement in our land. So that is coming from Ifafunsho. And as the Biafra continue to open more of their liaison offices, the Prime Minister government in exile, Biafra Republic government in exile, the South Korean liaison office registration has now been approved. And the last one is coming from Ogbeni Demola. All the victims of Hitler in the Second World War till today are still being compensated. Looted artifacts have been returned despite being victim of the most brutal Holocaust. It is only Africans they are told to forgive and move on.
And how true is that? Very, very true. When it comes to ours, we talk about the slave trade and everything happening. So, it's gone. It's far too late for us to do anything about it. But others are enjoying it. Where do we start and where do we end? Yomi, thank you very much. Before you go.
Well, I'll leave you again, as Archie takes you to the rest of the segment till 1 p.m. But I'll be back again tomorrow for more updates from Nigeria as we are now capped down to the new government that is coming in place. Should all goes according to plan without any problem from the election tribunal that is going on. Have a very good morning. Bye for now.
Good morning. All right, then, listeners, that has been Mr. Olayomi Koiki. 10 minutes to the top of the hour at the time. We're going to take a music break, and once we come back, we continue with the show. And what are we going to be listening to? Mika Paris saying something inside so strong. You listen to what Bishop Adesina said, and you listen to everything that seems to be going on, the challenges and everything. Now, what keeps you going on? There might be something extra. Mika Paris says something inside so strong. Enjoy it, and I'll be with you. Don't touch the dial.
The taller I become, the further you take my rights away.
This is Starr Radio UK.
The faster I will run. You can deny me, you can decide.
your smartphone.
When they insist we're just not good enough. Well, we know better. Just look him in the eyes and say, we're gonna do it anyway. We're gonna do it anyway. We're gonna do it anyway. We're gonna do it anyway.
Something inside so strong. Yeah, there's something so strong in you. And I know that you can make it. Yeah, I believe in you. You can make it. And that's the mantra that Obama used. Yes, we can. And I believe that you can. So have that resilient spirit. It's a product. One day we'll get there. But it's all coming away from Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. 11:55 the time. We take a quick commercial break, and once we come back, we'll continue with the show. This afternoon, exactly at 1:30, we'll be having BB Clement coming away with BB Means Business. I'm going to tell you what it's going to be looking at. And also, well, as I just said, the lines will be open in the next 5 minutes, and then we will continue with all the other stories. But the program comes to an end exactly at 12:30 to prepare the grounds. There's around a few things that needs to be done before the BB Means Business show comes on. So please bear with us. All right, so let's take a commercial break. We come back and we continue with the show. But don't touch the dial. Lots of stories going to come in from all the African continent and other parts of the world as well. Let me say good morning to Dave West as well for tuning in to listen to us. Starr Radio UK. Enjoy.
Hi guys, this is your friend Uruj from SendWave. SendWave is a money transfer app that is used by people all over the world to send money to their loved ones in Africa. With SendWave, you can send money to Ghana, Nigeria, Kenya, Uganda, and Tanzania. And the best part is, SendWave is absolutely commission-free. Our exchange rates are excellent. You can see for yourself by checking them out on our website. So how do you use SendWave? SendWave is an app that you can download onto your phone from the App Store or Google Play Store. The app is free to download. After downloading it, just open the app and enter your name, email, and phone number. That's it. You're good to go. Make sure you use the promo code SR. S for Starr, R for Radio. This promo code will give you £5 free credit to send to Africa on your first transaction. Your money will be delivered to your recipient within seconds. Feel free to call me on 0749 7377 647 at any time. I'll be happy to tell you all about SendWave and help you in any way I can. Remember to use the promo code SR for £5 free credit. Medasse.
Hi everyone, it's your girl BB Clement, the author of How to Go From Employee to Entrepreneur and the host of your weekly business show, BB Means Business, the show where we discuss everything you ever wanted to know about business but you were afraid to ask. How do I start my business? How do I raise the finance? How do I grow my business? Where am I going to find my customers? Join me every Tuesday at 1:30 p.m. on Starr Radio UK to get all the information and tips that you need to become a successful entrepreneur and become financially free. Remember, don't let life dictate to you. Rather, put your signature on life.
Are you looking for the fastest, reliable, and trustworthy door-to-door shipment company? Well, look no further. When was the last time your family received a shipment back in Ghana on time and in time? You are not sure? Well, Lamb Shippers, we pride ourselves with being the fastest, reliable, and trustworthy shippers you can use. You are assured of a prompt pickup anywhere in the UK by our personnel. They also make sure your items are well packaged to get to its destination in time. When it comes to door-to-door shipment, look no further. Well, Lamb Shippers, contact us on 07939009321 or 07498911820, or you can visit our website www.welllamp.co.uk. You can also drop us a mail, info@welllamp@gmail.com. Well Lamb Shippers, fast, reliable, and trustworthy. Welcome back to the program. It is Starr Radio UK. It is your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Let me open the lines. You want to join the conversation? Call us on 0208-133-2257 or 58. 0208-133-2257 or 58. Now, in US, Canada, or the Caribbean area, it's 001-7183-032737. 001-7183-032737. You know, you can text or WhatsApp at 0753-966-1744, 0753-966-1745. Twitter handle is at Starr Radio UK, and email address is info@starradiouk.com. All right, then. Now, with the lines open and everything, you can post your comments on our Facebook page, on our Twitter channel, and our YouTube channel as well. And I promise you one thing, that I'm going to read them out. And once again, let me say good afternoon to Mr. Dave West. Yeah, pretty soon he's going to be returning, hopefully keeping fingers and everything crossed, on to the Conscious Reggae Time on Monday. Every Monday, 10 p.m. Wow. So that will be happening. A few of you are having complaints about the Starr Radio UK platform. That's our own apps. You're having issues with that. And those of you on tuning as well, the technical team are working assiduously on it to make sure that everything pans out well. But it's Starr Radio UK. It is your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Another social there. Now, BB Clement is having a special program. That's tomorrow, the 24th of May, from 7 to 8 p.m. And it's titled, How to Go From Employee to Entrepreneur. How to go from employee to entrepreneur. Do you hate your job? Are you living paycheck to paycheck? Are you overworked and underpaid? Do you want to be your own boss? Want to start your own business but don't know how? Then this webinar that is going to be taking place tomorrow is going to be costing you £30 per person. Yes. And the meeting ID is 892-9562-7854. 892-9561-7854. And the passcode 509274. 509274. BB Clement. She is an entrepreneur and author. And she's the author of the book How to Go From Employer to Employee and Making Wealth. Wealth Creation God's Way. So she keep on. She's got few on her sleep. Yes? Doing all that she has to do. So make sure you join that program. It is tomorrow from 7 to 8 p.m. All right then. Now let's move on to some other stories making the rounds this morning. As I did say earlier on, the program finishes exactly at 12:30. So we've got 28 minutes to go through the other stories making the rounds. On the African continent, now more than 90,000 Sudanese take refuge in Chad to flee the fighting. The number of refugees in Chad who have fled the fighting between the forces of two rival generals in Sudan for more than a month is increasing. And it's a sad one there. They said there's a peace truce thing that is going on there. But again, at the end of the day, what do they actually want to see? Well, in DRC, before I bring you one other story, bishops are condemning police crackdown on opponents. Now the story says the Congolese Episcopate on Monday condemned police crackdown in Kinshasa on Saturday on opposition supporters who were demonstrating against the high cost of living in the Democratic Republic of Congo, where there have been much outrage since. The police blamed the demonstrators for not respecting the itinerary established by the governor of the city of Kinshasa, Getini Gbobila. According to the police, the demonstration was supposed to take place in the north of the capital, while the demonstrators gathered in a deprived neighborhood in the center west. The confrontation between the police and the demonstrators quickly degenerated. People were beaten, manhandled, robbed, and violently arrested. Among them were minors. The National Episcopal Conference of Congo denounced in a press release this ignoble and savage repression that the forces of order and their militia accomplices inflicted on the demonstrators, including the minors found on their way. The Senko condemns with utmost energy all the monstrosities, wrote its General Secretary, Bishop Donatin Nshole, who also called the authorities to conduct serious investigation into this violation. But what is going to come out of that? It's going to be a whitewash, of course. Of course, you got it. When it comes to Africa, yes, they'll do it. They set up a committee, and then the committee, as a friend would say, committee. They're going to drink a cup of tea. They go there, drink tea, and that will be the end of it. But what do you think? So a sad one there. Now, when it comes to Liberia, 4 suspects disappear in the big drug case. The Liberian authorities admitted on Monday that they had lost track of 4 men recently tried and exonerated after the seizure of $100 million worth of cocaine in a judgment that shocked even the Minister of Justice. A criminal court in Monrovia caused a stir on May 18 by finding not guilty a Liberian, a Bissau Guinean, a Portuguese, and a Lebanese man arrested in connection with the seizure in October 2022 of 520 kilos of cocaine with an estimated value to $100 million concealed, according to the authorities, in a container from Brazil. The result of cooperation with the United States and Brazil, it is one of the most important catches ever made in the country. The judgment by a popular jury was all the more surprising as the court ordered the return to the suspects of $200,000 seized during the operation. The case highlights the place of the West African coast on the drug trafficking routes from South America into Europe in particular. The judgment raised questions about the functioning of justice and its exposure to corruption. The court's decision makes Liberia an international laughingstock. Justice Minister Frank Musa Dean Jr. said in the statement, it is clearly undermines the collective efforts of Liberia and its international allies to combat the illegal transit of illicit drugs and the use of West Africa as a conduit for international trade for Latin America. And by the way, he said the 4 suspects photographed in their prison uniform with their lawyers after the trial release have disappeared. In the quote, they said, they can't be found. We don't know where they are. They fled, Information Minister Ledger Hood Rennie said, confirming the Justice Minister's remarks. Interesting. Where did they flee to? $100 million. My goodness. That is a proper cash. All right then. So it's all Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. One other story before we go to Ghana as well. A man has been arrested for porn images with president's face superimposed on them. Now, South Africa's police said on Monday they have arrested a man for allegedly distributing pornographic images with the faces of President Cyril Ramaphosa, Police Minister Becky Sell, and Sell's wife superimposed on them. The man will appear in court in the capital Pretoria on Tuesday on charges of contravening the Cyber Crimes Act, which relates to unlawfully accessing or processing computer data. The 34-year-old distributed the images to police officers and to the public on social media, police said. Now, police spokesperson Filani Nkwalase said in a news website, Times Live, that the investigation started in May when the images were first distributed. The man was traced to the eastern city of Pietermaritzburg, where he was arrested. Pornography is legal in South Africa, although its distribution is restricted. But why putting or superimposing the face of the president on that? You know that they will come after you. My goodness. At times I ask myself the question, when people are behaving some way, do they use their that one? Well. Okay, Dave West says keep the good work up. Okay, thank you very much, Dave West. Thank you very much. We hope keeping fingers and everything crossed that pretty soon. Yes, Dave West. I hope next week. Keeping fingers and everything crossed, we'll get it up and running. The New Patriotic Party has deployed all 47 MMDCs in the Ashanti region, a good number of MPs and deputy ministers as polling agents for the ongoing Kumawu by-election. The National Democratic Congress, NDC, is also underscoring its high stakes in the by-election by fielding high-ranking party officers and MPs to give the polls a close watch. North Tongo MP Samuel Kujacha Blakwa is a polling agent for the NDC, and so in the municipal chief executive for Ashanti Achim Central, Robert Kwachi, a polling agent for the NPP. Now, Robert Kwachi, in an interview, said the strategy is to help ensure victory and preserve tradition for the party, maintaining that the NPP stronghold on the Kumawu seat is not about to change. Kumawu is the NPP and NPP is Kumawu, he said, explaining that is the reason no other party has been successful in the constituency. The ruling New Patriotic Party and the opposition National Democratic Congress, along with 2 independent candidates, are today, that's May 23, battling it out for the Kumawu parliamentary seat. And as Yao Enim is the MPP candidate, the NDC is fielding Kwesi Amankwa, while 2 independent candidates both go by name Kwekudbia, which one has got a cutlass and one has got a bird as their emblems. Now, no less than 34,800 persons were registered as voters in the constituency during the 2020 general election. But the question again is, with the current economic situation in the country, with the lack of development in that part of the country, some were complaining of untarred roads and everything, lots of things that people had put across on social media platform. If you are there going to vote, would you still vote for the NPP? So then, this question comes to mind, and that is, do we vote as per policies or just party colors? So even if you just take a dog and just wraps it with a party color or a flag, yes, people will just say, yes, that is our candidate. It's the best candidate that we have. It's better, he can do everything. Or a lion that you know that when it's released will come and kill you and everybody in there and clad it in the party color flag, and it say, yeah, that is so peaceful, very, very humble. Meanwhile, you know that it's just because they are tying its hands or has a rope around its neck. But when it's released, he will come rampaging and devouring. What do you think when it comes to African politics? Well, in this part of the world, when we went for something called midterm elections here, was it last month or early part of this month? You saw how the Conservative lost seats. It's because of the policies and because people are feeling the pinch when it comes to economic situation in the country. But would we see anything of the sort on the African continent? Somebody say, no way, no way. Well, but the police, the IGP in Ghana, Dampare, is giving, Dr. Dampare is giving the assurance that the residents of Kumawu of a peaceful by-election, because we remember a by-election that took place in Accra, and that resulted into people being shot and people being beaten up. And I remember one opposition party MP was beaten or slapped. But the Ghana Police Service has assured residents of Kumawu and its environs in the Ashanti region of a peaceful by-election today. According to the police, adequate security arrangements have been put in place to maintain law and order as well as ensure peace and security during and after the Kumawu constituency by-election. Now, adequate police personnel have been deployed to Kumawu and to the other communities within the constituency to support the local police to provide security for the election. Director of Public Affairs ACP Grace Ansah Akrofi explained in a statement dated May 22, 2023. All right then. This is all coming away from Starr Radio UK. But there is fears that maybe what happened in Ayawaso Wargon, Ayawaso West Wargon, could happen. That debacle could happen in Kumawu. But the National Peace Council has urged the two main parties, New Patriotic Party and the National Democratic Congress, not to disturb the peace in Kumawu over the by-election today. Now, the Peace Council says the peace of the constituency should be respected at all times in today's exercise. The Ashanti Regional Chairman of the National Peace Council, Right Reverend Nuben Abubakar, that's asked the two main political parties to ensure they do comport themselves. According to him, they don't want a repetition of what happened in Ayawaso West Wargon by-election in 2019. We want peace. No one like what happened at Ayawaso West Wargon constituency during the by-election. We don't want it to be repeated here. Now, Parliament has also enacted a law. The police chief Dampare George Ekufu has also met the two main political parties. We expect them to follow the law and follow the roadmap they themselves have set up. All right then. So let's see. Tomorrow, God willing, we'll be telling you more about the outcome of that election, whether it was free and fair and without any breaking of the laws or doing all sorts. It is all coming away from Starr Radio UK. Ekufuado has abandoned communities in Kumawu. Mustafa Gbande saying the Deputy General Secretary in charge of operations for NDC, Mustafa Gbande, has said President Ekufuado has abandoned the people of Kumawu in the Ashanti region. According to him, for the President Ekufuado to resort to now saying that this is what's going to be, the result of this is going to culminate or show what is going to happen in the elections, the general elections next year. But what do you think? The 4 campaigns for NDC parliamentary candidate in Kumawu, so he's there as well, campaigning. So is it that the 4 want some big appointment when it comes to the NDC? Should they take power come 2024 and be sworn in by January 2025? What do you think? Okay. All right then. So now we have to move on to other parts of the world as well to look at some of the other stories making the rounds. It's Starr Radio UK. It is your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Ukraine war, fleeing Belgorod resident told to stay away. Residents in Russia, Belgorod region who have fled their homes due to fighting there have been urged not to return yet. Russian officials say an armed sabotage group crossed from Ukraine and attacked the Gravonistic district by the border on Monday. Moscow has now launched a terrorism investigation as fighting continues. Ukraine denies responsibility and said Russian citizens from 2 paramilitary groups were behind the incursion. Now, no deaths have been reported in the fighting, but a number of people are believed to have been injured. That includes 2 civilians amongst those being evacuated. The region's governor, Václav Gladkov, said on Tuesday. He added that air defense had shot down drones overnight, damaging buildings. But verification of buildings used by Russian main security agencies, the FSB, was among those hit. It is not clear what caused the damage, but Mr. Gladkov said the people in several villages had been evacuated and warned those who had fled their homes not to return yet, as Russian forces carried out what he described as a mopping up operation. So coming your way from Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Now, Now, an investigation over a truck crash near White House is taking place. The driver of a truck has been detained after crashing into security barriers across from the White House on Monday night. A Secret Service official said nobody had been hurt, later adding that the truck had been deemed safe and that initial investigation suggested that the crash might have been intentional. Some local roads and pedestrian areas were closed off, he earlier said. The driver of the U-Haul removal truck was not immediately identified. Wooza, a CBS affiliated television station covering the Washington D.C., cited a witness as saying that the driver had hit the barriers a second time following the initial collision. The incident, which happened just before 22 hours or 02 hours GMT, triggered evacuation of local hotels, including the Hay Adams. Well, they thought that maybe he was carrying some bombs or something of the sort. Well, I bet he will be languishing for a very long time in jail. But what do you think? 10 minutes to the end of the program. Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Now, yesterday there was this images of Vinicius Jr. racial abuse that was being aired. That was the day before yesterday and yesterday as well. Now, police in Spain have detained 3 people in connection with racist abuse directed at Real Madrid footballer Vinicius Jr. during a match on Sunday. The 3 are aged between 18 and 21. The police said in a message on Twitter, the Brazil international, who is black, has been subjected to such abuse numerous times this season. The latest incident during an away match at Valencia has sparked outrage in both Spain and Brazil. The game was paused in the second half as an incensed Vinicius reported opposition fans to the referee following the match, in which 22-year-old was later sent off for violent conduct. He said La Liga belongs to racists. La Liga president Javier Tebas responded on Twitter by saying Vinicius twice did not turn up for a meeting to discuss what it can do in case of racism, adding, before you criticize and slander La Liga, you need to inform yourself properly. But Football Federation Chief Luis Rubiales said Spanish football had a serious problem that also stains an entire team, an entire fan base, an entire club, an entire country. Spanish prosecutors will now decide whether to pursue a criminal investigation against them. But the issue is, this will never stop. It never stops. But how thick is your skin? And how resilient are you? And that's why the song that I played before we cross over to other stories, the cover version by Mika Paris, was something inside so strong. The resilience that you've got. But what? We hope that they see to address that. But we've seen a few times that such has not gone down well with people at all. It is all Starr Radio UK. It is your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. In other stories developing across the globe, Madeleine McCann's police begin reservoir search where about 30 miles from where Magdalene was, that place where they were living before she was abducted by the police. The German police, the German, Portugal, and the British police are on the ground, and divers are in that reservoir, and we'll see what comes out from there. It is all coming your way from Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. In other stories as well, Prince Harry has lost challenge to pay for police protection in the UK. Prince Harry has lost a legal challenge over his bid to be allowed to make a private payment for police protection. His lawyers wanted a judicial review of the rejection of his offer to pay for protection in the UK after his security arrangement changed when the prince stopped being a working royal. But a judge has ruled not to give the go-ahead for such a hearing. Now, Home Office lawyers had opposed the idea of allowing wealthy people to buy security from the police. This ruling followed a one-day court hearing in London last week. Now, since then, the Duke and Duchess of Sussex have been involved in what their spokesperson described as a near-catastrophic car chase involving paparazzi in New York. But as the High Court last week, lawyers for Prince Harry had challenged the decision to reject the private funding for police protection for himself and his family when visiting the UK. So what will he do if he's in the whilst in the US? Will he get private, or is he going to get the state police to be the ones that he's paying for his protection? What do you think? It is Starr Radio UK. Okay, now some sad scenes happened here in the UK yesterday in Cardiff. Now, two teenage boys died in a crash before a riot broke out in Cardiff, which left several police officers injured. Now, cars were set alight and fireworks thrown at police at 100 to 150 as 100 to 150 people gathered at the scene in Ely on Monday. Now, police dismissed social media rumors that they were involved in that crash, saying officers arrived at the scene afterwards. Now, the link between the crash and the disorder was unclear. Now, South Wales Police and Crimes Commissioner said it would appear that there were rumors, and those rumors became rife of a police chase, which wasn't the case, Along Michael said. And I think it illustrates the speed with which rumors can run around with activity that goes on in social media nowadays, and that event can get out of hand. Now, Mr. Michael said up to 12 officers had been injured in the disorder, and South Wales Police said it was called to the scene of the fatal crash on Snowdon Road shortly after 18 hours BST. At around 20 hours BST, police treated that they were working to manage the collision, but also to de-escalate ongoing disorder at the scene. The force said it received a large number of calls from understandably frightened residents. At about 0110 BST on Tuesday, police said a number of vehicles had been set alight and arrests were being made. Now you see pictures in front of me, some SUVs, people's cars, people's properties just burnt down. Wow, a sad one there. But this is all coming away from Starr Radio UK. It is your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Okay, a final story. Now, IMF is expecting the UK economy to avoid recession. The UK economy is expected to avoid recession this year due to resilient demand and falling energy prices, the International Monetary Fund has said. It's now expected the UK to grow by 0.4% in 2023, whereas last month its forecast the economy will contract by 0.3%. But the IMF said inflation remains stubbornly high and that higher interest rates will need to remain in place if it is to be brought down. It also noted that the risks of the UK economy are considerable. The biggest danger was greater than anticipated persistence in price and wage settings, which will keep inflation higher for longer. The IMF also added that the UK must address the record numbers of people not working, many of whom have long-term illness. So what do they do? Now, Chancellor Jeremy Hunt said the IMF statement credits our action to restore stability and tame inflation, and added it praises our childcare reforms, the Windsor framework, and business investment incentives. In a quote, he said, if we stick to the plan, the IMF confirmed our long-term growth prospects are stronger than in Germany, France, and Italy, but the job is not done yet. And that is where I bring the program to a close for today. But I say the job is not done yet. Why? Because I'm going to bring you some wonderful music for you to enjoy before I go away. But as I did say, exactly at 1:30 we're bringing you BB Clement on BB Means Business, and I'll be telling you more about that. But you are being invited to the show that is taking place. Oh, what did I say? Taking place tomorrow online. So you can join live via webinar, okay, and then live streaming. So it is how to go from employer to employee. Sorry, let me take it again. How to go from employee to entrepreneur. Somebody will say employer to employee. Why do I want to? How to go from employee to entrepreneur? Do you hate your job? Are you living paycheck to paycheck? Are you overworked and underpaid? Do you want to be your own boss? Want to start your own business but don't know how? Join the program tomorrow exactly at 7 to 8, between 7 and 8 p.m. Okay, that is 19 to 20 hours BST. It will be the same time in Nigeria, but it's going to cost you £30 per person. And the meeting ID is 892-9561-7854. 892-9561-7854. And the passcode is 509274. 509274. So make sure you make a date with BB Clement. She is an entrepreneur, author of How to Go from Employee to Entrepreneur. All right then. So this is why I bring the program to a close for today. As they say, enjoy the rest of the day. But BB Clement will be joining you in the next hour for the BB Means Business show. On that note, I say have a top of the day and bye-bye for now. Enjoy this song from the Roots Riders, and it says, get up, stand up. Stand up for what? Stand up for your right. Enjoy.